Hey there, this is Jason Fried, and today I want to show you the Hey Calendar. The Hey Calendar is part of Hey, which has traditionally been an email system. Now it's a calendar and an email system. You get two for one, basically. Okay, so let's dive into it. Here we are. We're looking at the Hey Calendar in week view. So we have two views. We have week and day. We don't have a month view, and that's intentional. So traditional calendars, paper calendars, were always based around the month. You had a month and a month and a month and a month. Inside the month, you had weeks. Inside the weeks, you had days, obviously. And most digital calendars have followed that format. Hey Calendar, though, gets rid of the months, although we label the month so you know what month you're in. But the structure is all about the week. The week, to me, is a more human scale period of time. You know, what's going on this week, what's going on next week versus what's going on 4 months from now. So we're always based on weeks and days in the Hey Calendar. And I'll show you how this works right now. The current week you're in is going to be highlighted in black or a black border. You'll see this is the current week. If I was to scroll forward, you'll see next week and the week after that are all going to be sort of light gray. And the current week is highlighted black here, at least the border is. And the current day has this orange splotch behind it. So these are sort of your wayfaring methods here. Orange splotch today. Today's Friday, December 29th in this current week. All right. Now, the day, of course, is displayed this way, where you have the now line. We call it the now line, which is it's currently 4:07 p.m. when I'm recording this. This is currently now. It's an orange dotted line, and it tells you where you are in your day. So Hey Calendar in both the day and week view are essentially spatial views. Empty space means something. The size of events means something. We don't stack up events back to back to back to back unless they're truly back to back to back to back. In most calendars, you could have, you basically see a day and you have things slammed together. So you might have a 5-hour break between two events, but the calendar shows them as back to back to back to back, and you have to parse out the times to see how much time you have in between things. The Hey Calendar is always using empty space to your advantage to show you the free time that you have between things, or how much time you don't have between things if things are really backed up back to back to back. So in this case, we had a kind of an open morning, a big open afternoon, then we have this event at 5:50 p.m. In between this is empty space, meaning you'd have nothing coming up. You can just do whatever you want to do. And this is currently now. If you were to sit on this screen all day, you'd see this orange line slowly moving as the day moves. So we always want to show the movement of time, always oriented around now. Okay, previous days in the week, of course, are here. Future days are here. Obvious sort of thing. You'll see here this little vertical pill here. This is a time tracking thing. I'll show you this when we get to the day view. But this indicates that there was time tracked on this given day. Events come in different colors based on the calendar that they're on. So you can display multiple calendars on a single calendar. Of course, work, personal, family, whatever it might be. All right. Now, that's all pretty basic. Let's get into some of the more interesting stuff here. So first of all, you're going to see that there's some icons at the top of each day, today and in the past, nothing in the future because those days haven't happened yet. These are called habits. And the Hey Calendar lets you keep track of things that you want to do or don't want to do. Like, I want to exercise every day, or I want to take my vitamins every day, or I want to do breath work or yoga or meditation, or I don't want to smoke or I don't want to drink. Whatever these things are, you either do them or you don't do them. You can identify those on the Hey Calendar, and it will dole those out for you based on your preferences, and I'll show you how to set this up in a second. And then you can just basically indicate whether or not you did them or didn't do them. If you did them, like let's say I took my vitamins this morning, I just simply click that, it colors in, and that means yes. If I didn't do it, I click that, it means no. It's binary, yes or no. So I can look back over time and see this day I took my vitamins and exercised. This day I read and took my vitamins. This day I exercised, took my vitamins. This day I read, took my vitamins. I did not exercise that day. I was supposed to, but you'll see there's no color on that one, okay? So these are called habits, and to set them up, you go up to here and you go to habits, and here's where you can set up your habits. So I've set up read books, exercise, take vitamins. You can make a new one, whatever you want to do. Could be stop smoking, whatever it might be. Set up the days of the week, pick an icon, pick a color, and then it'll sort of lay those out for you on your calendar. You can also click on one and see your streaks. So every day that there's a colored in circle means I did it, and days that have an outline circle but no color means I was supposed to do it, but I didn't do it, and I have a 13-day streak of doing it in a row. Yay for me. So those are habits, and those appear at the top of days in the week view and also in the day view. It's a really nice way to track things that you want to stay on top of and keep an eye on and keep yourself honest about. Okay. Another thing you're going to see here is that you can actually put pictures in the background of any day. So it could be a vacation you're looking forward to. It could be a birthday, an anniversary, some sort of celebration, something you did on a given day, or something you're looking forward to in the future. Let's say you're going on a Hawaiian vacation next week and you want to put a picture of Hawaii in the day that you leave, or that full week. You can do that sort of thing, which is a really nice way to indicate something special on a given day versus just text. Traditional calendars, you basically have text. Paper calendars, though, you can put stickers. We have kids and they write a whole bunch of things in there, which is kind of wonderful, or put little Post-it notes or stick little photos. That's where the idea came from, to be able to add photos to cells. To do that, you just hover over the top left corner of a cell. You'd see this little picture icon. You'd click that. You could upload an image and it would show up there. If you don't want the image anymore, you can click that icon, upload a different image, or remove it all together. You'll also see that on this particular day, there's a little label above the day. Every day in the Hey Calendar has a space for naming that day. So yeah, it's the 29th, but it also might mean something to me. And traditional calendars don't really let you do that. You just have a day. It could be the day of the week and it could be a number, but that's all you get. With the Hey Calendar, you can put things above the day to signify, to label a day. For example, I'm doing some traveling on this day, and so I said it's a travel day. And maybe I'm traveling again on this day, so I'll say travel day, right? So now, when I scroll through my calendar, I can spot these little extra labels on days to give me a little bit more context. It's a really nice little subtle thing you can use in a whole bunch of different ways. In this case, it's an anniversary, right? My grandparents' anniversary. And yeah, I could make that an all-day event, which is what you do on a typical calendar. But it's not really an all-day event in the traditional sense of what an all-day event would be. It's more like a celebration. It's something I want to indicate. And this is a great way of doing it. In this case, I did a picture and also labeled it right above. So day labels are a really interesting extra bit of information you can put on the Hey Calendar. Now, below your days in a given week, we have this block called Sometime This Week. This is a place to dump stuff, literally, that is something you want to do sometime this week. I don't know what day it's going to be. I'm not really sure. Maybe I won't even get to it. But sometime this week, I'd love to get to these things. This is a very human way of thinking about events. Sometimes you've got things you have to do specifically, and you put those on the calendar. Other times you have things that you probably want to get done at some point, maybe this week. I can also put something in sometime this week, next week. So it's like next week, I know I need to return this contract. And next week, I want to buy a book, right? So I could put things in advance for next week. When I complete something, I can just check it off. To add something new, I can just type it here, right? And anything that's not checked off automatically follows you along to the next week. So you don't have to worry about forgetting to do things that you didn't get to do this week. They'll just come with you, which is really nice. Unless they're checked off, then they'll stay where they are. If, for example, you finally come up with something, go, you know what? I do want to do this order of flowers thing on Saturday. I could just drag this up into this day, drop it, and then make it a family event, or actually make it a legitimate event on the calendar. So you can do it that way as well. So you can kind of use this as a shelf to keep things you might want to do, things you hope to get to, things you actually have done, and then some things you just don't do and they follow you along, or you can use this to put it into the actual calendar itself. Very, very flexible and very simple. These don't have categories. There's nothing to them. When you make them an event, you can then decide which calendar they're on. But other than that, they're just flat, simple events. All right. So again, moving forward, it's very simple to move forward. You'll see here's the month. So the month is always at the beginning of the week. So you still know what month you're in. And if the month changes, I'm going to zoom ahead here. Hey, look, my dog's birthday is coming up. So there's a picture of my dog in the future. If the month changes in the middle of a week, you'll see that it's indicated here as well. Here's February, here's January. So you'll always see that sort of thing too. Okay, you can see, by the way, how nice it is to have pictures, how nice it is to have labels that are different from events. It's a really wonderful, here's a trip to Miami coming up. It's a really, really nice nice thing. You'll also notice here that this event here is circled, as is this event. What's that about? Well, we've really taken some inspiration from paper calendars in this respect. Paper calendars have a really wonderful flexibility. You can take a highlighter pen, you can take another pen and circle things, you can underline things. There's certain things you really want to have stand out visually when you're looking at a calendar, and traditional digital calendars really don't give you a lot of control over that. So on any given event, I'll just pick this one here. If you click the event, you'll see there's an option that says circle event. If you circle that and just hit update just this event, because this happens to be a repeating event, it'll now be circled. And so it's also circled in the color of the calendar. So I'll pick, like, I don't know, this one here and say circle this one. I'll say update. That's going to be kind of a red tinted circle there. So circling events is another way to make certain things stand out, because not everything on a calendar is equal. You know, I know time can be a size component, right? This is a longer event than this, so that does stand out. But it's always been odd, in my opinion, that on digital calendars, no matter the criticality of the event or how fun an event is or how much you're not looking forward to something, they're all essentially treated the same way. On the Hey calendar, you can circle things to give them a little bit of a highlight. And down the road, we'll probably add more, I don't know, flair, you might want to call it, to events. All right, another thing you're going to see here is that some events have these solid colors, and some have this sort of outlined light gray thing with more of a handwritten font. These are called maybe events. So you can put something on your calendar that you're not sure if you're going to do or not, but you want to hold space for. So let's just like take today, and I'll go change my calendar to my maybe calendar. And this comes with every account. You don't have to set up a maybe calendar. And it could be like, you know, I don't know, get new shoes. I have no idea, right? Let's say I was hoping to do this between 11 and 12, and I could say add this event, and there it is in this sort of maybe format, right? And if I ever decide that I actually am going to do this for real, I can just change the calendar to, you know, maybe I would say that's probably personal, right? Update, and now it's an actual legit event. I can also go, you know what? I'm not so sure I can do that anymore. Let me move that back to maybe, and now I flipped it back to a maybe event. Maybe events don't have notifications, and they're displayed differently. Of course, if I don't want this at all, I can just delete it. So I'm going to do that. But maybe events are wonderful ways to hold time, hold space for something that might happen that you might want to do at some point. Like you'll see here, maybe I'm going to have brunch with the book club on Sunday. Maybe not. We'll see. Okay. So that's essentially the week view, all right? Let's look at the day view. And by the way, actually, before I do that, a couple quick things. You want to add an event, you can click anywhere to just add the event, of course. You can also click the plus icon up here to add an event. And if you want to move forward in time, you'll see I'm scrolling through weeks here, but you might be like, well, what if I want to check April for this thing? Like I'm taking a sabbatical in 6 months and I want to get that on the calendar in June or July, whatever it might be. You can always just click this and jump ahead really fast to whatever date you want, of whatever year you want, and it'll navigate you right there. So that's always a possibility as well. So, but in the near term, scrolling is a really wonderful way to get around. Okay, so let's look at the day view now. So again, I'm on the 29th. Remember, 419, here's the now line. Go to the day view. Now the day view is a very, very different kind of look. The day view is a timeline, right? And it's actually a never-ending timeline. So I just keep scrolling. I'm scrolling back in time here. Here's the 28th. I'm scrolling back in time here. Here's the 27th. Back in time, here's the 26th, etc. Right? So, and if I want to go forward, I go forward. I can always just click on today. It's going to jump me right back to today. All right? So days are, this is open. I'm going to show you why in a second, but days typically are bookended essentially by nighttime. So from 10 to 6 is nighttime. From 10 to 6 is nighttime. We condense the calendar like an accordion, throw a little starry night background back there, because most events aren't happening at that time. So we condense that time so you don't have to scroll through it all the time. And instead we bookend your day. So now from basically 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. is your day. Again, space matters here. So this is all empty time, empty space. These are events. And if you go again back to today, you can see where I'm at, 4:21. So you can see I've got some time, a little bit of time before this event happens at 5:50, right? about an hour plus, right? So I can see that, which is really nice when you have now indicated. Also, again, if you sit here on this screen all day long, now moves as it does in the real world, as it does in life. It will just keep moving. And so you can actually literally watch your day pass by. I can imagine having this on a separate screen somewhere in my house and just watch your day go, and you can see where you're at any given time. Again, the sometime this week things that were on the week view are also, so these are all the sometimes this week. These are also down here listed on the day of this week. You know, it's still this week, of course, but I'm looking at a specific day. And the reason those are shown is because I might choose to do one of those today. I might choose to drop this, bring this in, drop it right here at 12 p.m. Or maybe I'll do it 1 p.m. I'll drop it there, right? So having that stuff there is always very, very handy when you're looking at a day, even though these are items for the week. Also, again, items I completed on a given day will stay on this day. So I completed this today. So it's going to stay here in perpetuity. If I ever come back here, that'll be there. All right. Now, if you need to open, because let's say you're going to have a real late night event or something, you can just click on that and it's going to expand it open. It's going to still shade it like a darker gray. You'll see that's true on this side too. And it's going to open that event or open that nighttime so you have room to put things, right? The reason this one was open is because I actually have an event starting at 5 a.m. Typically, this is closed from 10 to 6. So if you have something in nighttime, it'll automatically open so you don't miss that event. Again, you'll see my habits are up here, indicated here. I can, of course, scroll to previous days and you'll see them fill in or not fill in, right? Depending on whether or not I did them and which ones I did. And again, to get back to today, I can just go there. To set a new event, I can just hover over any time to pick that time. So noon, you'll see the new event dialog shows up with the start time where I hovered. And again, it's going to default to whatever menu or whatever calendar you want. You can make an event an all-day event, so you don't have to put times in. You can add time zones. So, and you can change the time zone for each time. So the start time or the end time, maybe your traveling time zone. So by the time you get somewhere else, you might be, in, I don't know, mountain time. So you can set that. You can set your notifications. You can add links, locations, all the things. You can invite other people to meetings or events like a traditional calendar. You enter that, enter someone's email address, they'll get an email, they can accept the invitation, that sort of thing. I've already showed you what circle events look like, and you can see they're also circled here on the vertical version. The other thing that's really cool, by the way, is this feature. Let me jump ahead a few days and find an event like this Herbie Hancock concert. Okay, if I'm really looking forward to this, I can click on this and say countdown. I can say start a countdown, I don't know, 5 days before update, okay? What's cool about that is that now on Friday, this is today, it says at the top here, it says 2 days until Herbie Hancock. If I was to go back another day, it's gonna say 3 days until. So it's kind of nice to have something in the future you're looking forward to and being able to see it before it actually happens so you can look forward to it. And it's sort of another version of a reminder. But it's more of a visual reminder. And I've set things that are weeks in advance that I was really looking forward to, like time off or whatever it might be. So that's what a countdown is. And you can add countdowns to as many different items as you would like. Now, what's this little thing here? As we talked about, this is the now line, but there's a little clock at the top of it. And if I roll over there, there's a little red dot. Now, you'll remember that when I went back to the week view, I showed you this little time tracking pill, this little vertical line here. So if I want to track time, let's say I'm doing a call with a client or something like that, and I want to keep track of how long I spent on that call. Or I was playing guitar and I want to track how long I'm practicing on a given day. When I begin, I can just hit this little record button. You'll now see that a timer has begun, and it's going to time until I hit the stop button. Now, we'll let this run for a minute so I can show you how this works. But you can set all these different time tracking options on different days and different times. And over time, you can keep track of the things that you've tracked. To do that, you'd go to your Hey menu and you go to time tracking. And you're going to see essentially a report of how much time you spent on what day. You can, when you save the time tracking item, you can put it in a specific category. So in this case, I'm tracking time for clients. I can add notes as well. I can filter and sort this list differently. And I can also export this to, let's say, a billing software or something like that if I want to just kind of bring this stuff in, or a spreadsheet or whatever it might be. You'll also see I currently have an event that's being tracked. So this live timer is showing up here as it was, or as it is still right here, right? And when I'm done, I can just hit stop. Now, of course, tracking something for a minute is kind of silly. So let me just show you what this could look like if it was a longer event. I'll say like from 3 to 5, I had a long call, right? And I'll say client Normacom talked about the logo revamp and style guide, right? Oops. Style guide. Okay, save. You're now going to see that this has been tracked and labeled on the time track between 3 and 5 p.m. Okay. If I go back to the week view, you're going to see it's right there as well, right? I can click on that and I can edit it, change it, whatever I want to do, but that's what that is, which is really nice. So I can see in my week view and my day view all the things that I've tracked in terms of tracking time throughout the day. So it's another way, another dimension to keep track of events and time on a calendar, which is something that it's surprising again that traditional calendars, digital calendars, I should say, don't offer time tracking, because calendars are all about time. And the problem is that most of them are about future events. Most calendars are about things that are happening later, not things that are happening now. And the Hey calendar is also, of course, about later, but it's also very much about now. Always representing now with the now line and the ability to track time in real time. All right, let's see. I mean, there's a couple other things I can show you, but I'm going to leave a little bit for the imagination. By the way, here's where you can set up your calendars, so you can add additional calendars. You can change colors, of course, for the calendars, that sort of thing. Now, you can set default notifications for your calendar for every event on a particular calendar. And you can also share a calendar with another Hey user. So let's say your partner is also using Hey, or you want to set up a family calendar. You can both edit and add things to and see. You can just turn this on, enter their Hey email address. It'll send them an email. They can accept the invitation. And now that calendar will show up on both accounts, and you can both use it as if it's your own and see each other's information there. It's really, really nice to work with families and small groups. You can make a new calendar here. You can add a calendar. You can also add a subscription from an outside source. So in this case, I have my Basecamp schedule from Basecamp imported here into my Hey calendar. So any event that I add in Basecamp will show up here in my Hey calendar. To do that, you just say add a subscription. You paste in the subscription URL, Outlook, Gmail, Apple Calendar, Basecamp, many, many tools give you basically an ICS feed. Pop that in, change the refresh rate, how often you want that to be updated, pick a color, and you're good to go. Very, very straightforward. Very, very useful. Again, you can move through days this way. You can scroll this way, however you want to do it, however you want to move through time. Week view, day view, grid to get around quickly, add an event anywhere you want. We covered circling events, countdowns, time tracking, colors, pictures, day labels, habits, time tracking, all the things. There's more to come, and I hope that you really thought this tour was interesting, and I hope you're looking forward to using the product. It should be out soon, and thanks again for using Hey. Take care.